We have reduced tremendously the casualties. We used to have over 4,000 casualties per year in the 90s.
Wow.
90s. Those areas where mine, we go there, including along the border areas where used to be former battlefields in the past during our civil wars.
This is Silent Killers, a podcast from Face to Face and the international campaign to ban landmines. In 1997, the world said enough and signed the Mine Ban Treaty, but landmines are still claiming lives in many countries around the world. In this series, we meet survivors, frontline workers, and global change makers, all fighting for a mine-free world. From Cambodia to the Ukraine, the danger is real, the work is urgent, and the path to peace is possible. Step by step and yet still under our feet. This is Silent Killers. Well, welcome to another edition of Silent Killers, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be chatting with a senior minister from the Royal Cambodian government, Mr. Ly Thuch, here with us today in Geneva. We're looking out the window, and we really can't actually see Mont Blanc. It's a rainy day, a gray day, but we're both here and having a conversation either way. Mr. Thuch, thank you for joining me here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure to chat with you for so many reasons. The listeners of this podcast and my other podcast, Face to Face, know that I've had many conversations, over 800 published conversations online, and they know my passion and my love for your country, for Cambodia, the Kingdom of Wonder. So I'm absolutely thrilled that you said yes for this conversation, and you're open to having a chat about not only about your country, but about the Mine Ban Treaty and about some of the core issues. So thank you for that. What do you think of Geneva?
Well, first, thank you, David, for we love you too, and we love your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Helping people to get safe from mines.
Yeah.
Well, Geneva is a good city. Enjoy coming here to present our work to the rest of the world, and it's a big platform, a big gathering of people full of compassion and solidarity, and we're happy to be here.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you pick up on the notion of compassion and solidarity right out of the beginning, at the beginning of our conversation, because yesterday I interviewed Ruth Bottomley, who works for the International Campaign to Ban Landmines, and she's a researcher. She works on the Landmine Monitor, and we wound up ending the conversation talking about compassion, kindness, generosity, and that being a core value or core values of what's behind the treaty itself. Would you agree with that?
I fully agree with that, and all of us deserve to make efforts to extend our compassion and our solidarity to the rest of the world, to those who are in need, and continue to do our job.
So, how do you get? I mean, you were the president of the convention last year in Siem Reap. I was there. You and I shook hands very quickly. I'm sure you don't remember. You were very busy at the convention, and something that I always think through at these types of events. We have 1,000 people here that are all working towards the same issue. There's many people who are committed and passionate about, a mine-free world. How do you get Cambodians to care about this issue? What kind of a story do you find?
There are a lot of stories, success stories.
Yes.
So our stories link to every mine found and destroyed. One mine found and destroyed is a success story, not only for Cambodia, but for humanity. Because we know one landmine can destroy a whole family, can also produce huge disasters to the person, but to the families and to the communities. So we are here also to celebrate success stories made from those heroes, our deminers, our activists, from organizations, from countries, as donors. We're here to celebrate our success stories, our solidarity, and our compassion. So Geneva is a place where we come to meet and to showcase our.
Well, it's interesting.
efforts.
It's the event is not only to tell the world about the issue, but it's also to build a stronger community of campaigners and activists, isn't it?
Yes, I think the meeting this year is special for us because a lot of things have changed in our world. unfortunately, areas, territories, some places, things not very positive. But we have to be optimistic, and we are here to show our optimism, and our steadfast leadership to build a better future for all our humanity.
I've been coming to Cambodia for over 20 years. And I know that when I first started visiting, landmines were a significant problem. There's still a problem, unexploded ordnance and so on. But as you say, celebrating the successes, Cambodia has come a long way. And I think the world can learn lessons about how you've gone about clearing the country of landmines. Still lots of work to do.
Yeah, thanks, David, for your question. It's very important for us. I think Cambodia has, over the past 30 years, dealt with contamination in our country's heritage from over 30 years of civil war. We have achieved amazing results on our work to clear mines. Over 3,000 square kilometers of contaminated land has been released for our farmers. 10 million farmers has enjoyed our work, and how happy they are. They build new hope, new future, new livelihood, dignity restored for them. It's been over 30 years. With this huge contamination, we Cambodia cannot do it alone. So I'm here with a message of gratitude from my people and my government, those involved, to our donors, to our expert organizations, and to our hero deminers.
Many women.
Many is over 40% of our deminers have now over 5,000 deminers on the ground. They clear inch by inch to provide safe land to our farmers, to our people.
I know it sounds like when I said many women, it sounds like I can't believe that, but I think it's marvelous because typically when I think of landmines, I think of the military, more men than women, but when I found that out on my last trip into Siem Reap, I went on a small demining demonstration, I guess you could say, to a landmine field in Siem Reap with Halo Trust. And to find that out, that statistic about how many women deminers there were it was worth celebrating. Story worth telling.
Yes, I think you are right. Not in Cambodia alone, but our women worldwide has been very, how to say, change actor in many ways in our society, and we really recognize their contribution to our society, to our world. I think women in my action sector are wonderful people. They are disciplined, very professional in their job, and they become through their work doing. Clearing mines, kind of community leaders in their own areas and areas. So I think they have received good training from their work.
Yeah. No, it's a remarkable thing. I think that anyone does the work. To be honest, it's such difficult, challenging work, and seeing how much attention to detail is required is really quite remarkable. Do you think, Thuch, that Cambodia's success and economic growth in the last few years has been connected to farmers who have been able to farm the land, build new homes, and so on? In other words, I guess the question I'm really asking is how much has it affected the socioeconomic kind of conditions in Cambodia, the landmines? So for other countries as well, right?
Yes. I think there are no doubt that the mining is huge. To have a huge impact on our society, on our people. First, we have transformed their communities from fear, to hope, to incomes, to better livelihood. Yes, this is speaking about land release, safe land, and then more than that, we have transformed from mines field to rice field. For them, therefore, rice field, it comes field. From land that kill them, inputed them, land that keep those stay at home. Why stay at home when husband go out to work on the field? Stop worrying about my husband will come back alive, or half of the body gone. So it's so it helped to contribute to release the mental, psychological pressure on everybody in the family. Kids and husband and wives all together. So the mining work really transformed the whole elements of societies and families. And it is noble work, noble cause that we had to join together to stand against the use of mines everywhere.
I've always been so struck by the countries that I've worked in over the years in the majority world in the global south, where elements of poverty and vulnerability are in some cases very high at the what's the word I'm looking for? The English word would be tenacity. Like the desire to work, to push back, to still farm a field that actually might have landmines in it. I can't imagine how difficult that would be. The psychological impact of that, to know that maybe, my children are out in the field and there might be landmines out there, I think is just, it's remarkable that anyone is able to get out of bed in the morning and still do that work. Yes. Do you know what I mean by that?
So we have to admire also our farmers' braveries, and that bravery linked to their livelihood needs. They need to have land to grow crops.
They need to eat.
They need to eat. They need to feed their family.
It's that simple of a problem, right?
And I know our farmers, some of our farmers has become reminders by the needs of having a space to grow crops to feed their family.
Right.
So we admire their braveries and their contribution to our society. Yes, safety in the communities.
What would you say is one of the bigger challenges in Cambodia? Is it advocacy? Is it education, telling people about the problems in their provinces, in their towns, in their villages? Is that a big hurdle?
Well, David, our success stories. In my action work, first we have reduced tremendously the casualties. We used to have over 4,000 casualties per year in the 90s.
Wow.
90s. And gradually this number reduced. And now over the past 6-7 years, less than 100.
Wow.
Less than 100. And this used to mine risk education. So we have conducted mine risk education sessions to millions of people by our operators, by our police officers, by our Red Cross organization, by our ministry of education. So we have reached out to everywhere to prevent casualties to take place in our communities. And at the same time, the second contribution to casualty reduction is mine clearance. So we have in Cambodia a strategy. Our strategy to clear mine is to focus our financial resources and manpower to clear areas where people live. First priority is safety for our communities, and then second priority is agricultural fields, land. We have to get that land safe so they can farm and do farming, and they can survive. It can be the livelihood. Yes, and now we have done it over past 30 years. We have to move to another phase of our work. That those areas where mine, we go there, including along the border areas where used to be former battlefields in the past during our civil wars. Right. So those groups led a lot of mines there, and we have to now move to address them. And we need experienced deminers because we're heavily demined. 80 square meter, you can find a lot of mines there. So we have to be careful, but also challenging. Because there's a rocky and high ground and forest, forestry. So a lot of things that make our progress slower than other areas.
For me, Cambodia is as you've said a couple times, a real success story. Still a lot of work to be done, but there's something there that I think the world needs to hear the Cambodian story with respect to landmines and clearance and the vulnerabilities, because it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a trajectory. It shows us the story of how bad it can be or was, the amount of success that we've had from this many casualties to this many casualties, right? The amount of square acreage and hectares that have been cleared and so on. So here's a reason not to use landmines, and here's how to get rid of them if you do have land. Do you know what I mean by that? The story around it is something that the world needs to see, because it's the beginning to the end, if that makes sense.
Right, David. I think another point I may come back to your previous question about what contributed to our success. Yeah.
Yes, I'd like.
So I mentioned about mine education to reduce casualties, mine clearance to destroy mines and other elements of war. Another important point is also that we like to share with other countries affected by mines also is about leadership. Leadership from the top of the government of the countries. I mean, the government has to be committed to mine clearance. Committed, I mean, politically, have a strong will and also allocate fund, because my action need financial support and other supports as well. So the leadership from the country is important to carry out successfully our work. And we need to be well organized and have proper priorities and policies to coordinate, to lead, to manage the mine action sector. It's a big deal also.
And Thuch, this isn't just about landmine clearance, and you're the is it the first VP of the CMMA, which is about not only about clearance, but it's also about victim assistance as well, right? So it's not just that we need to clear the landmines; we need to support those vulnerable folks as well.
Yes, David. I think leave no one behind. Support to mine survivors, to victims is a big deal for us. When we assumed the presidency of the convention last year, the Cambodia presidency focused on 3 priorities. First is the unionization, respecting the convention norms by member states, clearing mines, of course, to reduce casualty, but also one of our priorities is support to mine survivors. So it's important for us. And Cambodia, a lot of them. A lot of people with disabilities. We have over 65,000 mines casualties over the past 30 years. We need, and most of them who survive till today, they are people with disability.
Right.
And we need to help them and their families and their communities. We had to provide jobs to their family members so they can support each other. And they had to provide their artificial limbs and had to cross-check, repair their artificial limbs every 6 months. So we had to have mobile reach out to their communities. So we had to be organized and we had to do that because they are a big part of our communities and our society.
Right, an important part, yeah, no doubt. You mentioned the political edge to it, or the will. Why do you think it's so hard when you're at a convention like this? Why do you think some countries have so much trouble convincing their leaders that this is an issue they need to take on? I mean, is it just economics? Is it really about defense? You know, I've heard the phrase military utility quite a bit. And I just think, what is the utility of the landmine? And yet I don't have the mind of a general. I'm not a soldier. So I don't really understand. And having come to this problem fairly recently, as I do my research, I think that's the question we should be asking. What's the utility of this? How is this actually helping you defend your country? And so anyway, it's a very big question.
Yes. Yeah, good analysis. For the case of Cambodia, blessed in having successive leaders.
Prime Minister Hun Sen was
Sun who have brought peace to Cambodia. With peace, we can deploy our miners everywhere. And those fighting factions stop laying mines. So then we are able to address the mining every corner of the country because of peace in 98, sorry. So we just have full peace, 27 years of peace still, yeah. Yes, I think maybe our people, Cambodian people are blessed in having such leaders. Now the current prime minister, like Hun Manet, his son also former army commander. The one who allow us to have military personnel to be trained to be the miners.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, it's because of him. So we have over 1,000 military personnel doing humanitarian demining. They are with us. And we are grateful to our leaders for supporting mine clearance over the years.
That's kind of groundbreaking in a way, isn't it? Training your military to be actually...
do humanitarian demining, because humanitarian demining and military demining is different.
It's like a contradiction almost.
Right, yeah. So they have to learn our techniques, our standards, all the kind of things that they have to be trained. Yes, and we have trained them, and we are happy to have them to join our work.
That to me is another lesson. I think one of the things that I hope comes out of these meetings is that the leaders of these parties go back to their countries to tell new stories. I think one of the things that's missing are more personal stories, personal narratives. So we have the statistics, we have the data, the spreadsheets and so on. But maybe what we need more is to hear from people from Yemen, people from the DRC, Cambodians telling their personal story about how their lives were turned upside down because they stood on a landmine. Yeah. And I wonder if that would help get Canadians and Americans and Cambodians and Japanese folk and so on more involved, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think, David, that given the suffering of our people globally from landmines. It require a global solidarity affected east states and those donor community, those countries, association that we need to get all this together to build a path to address mine clearance worldwide. I think it is necessary dialogue between affected states who will bring their experience, their know-how, and then the enabler. I mean, donor communities together to address these issues globally. I think this is important. At the same time, also when I was president of the convention last year, on behalf of my country, Cambodia, there were a series of discussion about financial resources. We feel that we do not want a concession of financial resources to allocated to one specific country. There are many other countries in the world needing support to get the job done and to move forward. So we need to allocate funding fairly appropriately, so everybody have support to address their needs and challenges as well, not just very over contribution to one part of the world or one country that they may face some absorption capacity to effectively use the fund, because mine clearance is a long term.
It's not overnight.
Not overnight. So donors had to also plan properly how to use their generosity more effectively.
Yeah, it's so important. I want to go back to that 1,000 military personnel have been trained. Is that a story? Is that something that Cambodia could lead the way on for other defense departments? Like, is that too idealistic to think that way? That lesson could be taken into other countries to say, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to commit resources, because I think a soldier trained in that is, I don't know, it sounds to me like a step in the right direction I don't know, our military is better resourced, I guess, at that point. I don't know if that...
Well, David, thanks. I think Cambodia have an important lesson to share with
I think so.
the rest of the world. First, about the military. Well, the military is supposed to be trained to fight in war zone, yeah?
That's right.
And also do military demining, so they don't care about reporting, about transparency, about anything. So you clear the area so the troops can move in. No. In Cambodia, we train them to provide safe land to civilians. So they have to learn all instructions in standards to conduct humanitarian demining for our people and villages. So I think on this we can share our experience with the rest of the world, how to engage the military to conduct humanitarian demining work, and to be part of the people. We have done this successfully, and they doing the job. Before this year, before I left Phnom Penh for Geneva, we have given quite a number of minefields to our military with specific time frame and support. When we go back, we will go see their work, and one land cleared, we will release to the people to do farming.
It makes me think.
And another point, David,
Yes.
so to interrupt you, one lesson that Cambodia can share is private sector contribution. A few years ago, we received over $18 million from the private sector. Companies, banks, government sectors, companies, factories, individuals, associations, monks, student villagers. They are not rich, They contributed $1, $2, $10, like this,
It all adds up.
Queen, everybody had contributed, and we had collected around $18 million, and we had cleared over 90 kilometers square with their contributions, And another story I want to share with you, how we get the mine clearance effective, and how can we use those funds from everywhere like this, from the people. Mine Action Authority has developed a policy. We call it mine-free village.
Mine-free village.
Village mechanism, let's say like this, a policy. So before, when we don't have fund, and in that village, we have about 3 or 4 minefields. So we, like I told you earlier, we will address first those minefields that affect the people in safety immediately there. So then this policy, mine free village, it means that in each village, if there are 3-4 minefields, we will address those minefields till the end. And by that, suppose you are you are from a bank, and that bank has $5,000 to contribute to mine clearance. We will tailor the minefields that cost $5,000.
I see.
And then
Right.
this might
It's like
be
a partnership.
Yeah,
almost.
partnership. This might be belong to this company. So they contribute, and then we deploy the miners, 10, 20 the miners, do the job 2 weeks time, 1 week, 2 weeks time, done. So this village by village.
So it's like a company can sponsor village, basically.
One example, no? In one of the provinces named Prewain, we had 2 mine remain. You know who helped us? American Chamber of Commerce. And how much? Just a little bit over $10,000. We get the whole province mine free. The whole big province, mine free, because the remaining 2 minefields, it will be a lot of fun to get the job done. That's why when we talk about how donors, should allocate fund fairly, because those small support can achieve big results.
You mentioned that.
You see? And another province that we have also support from private sector for Kampong Speu nearby Phnom Penh. So we have support from newspaper, the company, editing company, Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, supporting us with more or less about $10,000. But we have a design minefield for them, and they get the whole village mine free. And people happy. Had 2-3 families, household happy with the land. The children can play around. Cows, the buffalo can move around before it can. Cow buffalo also victim of mines. So this is the mine-free village mechanism or policy has been very helpful for us to get the whole province mine-free. From village to district and to the whole province mine-free. Any generosity can contribute to this work.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important. I'm glad you shared the story, because it shows that, to me, it says the problem can be solved with government, political will. You've got the people, you have advocacy, the military is involved, you have corporate, private, as you say, the private sector.
You have to point
community.
Yes.
It's a community effort, right? You're not just leaving it to one group to take care of the issue. And I feel like, being at this event here in Geneva at the UN, and on one hand, I feel so encouraged. But on the other hand, I feel like there's still this massive challenge with all the conflict that's going on in the world, and how much work still needs to be done. How do you stay hopeful?
Well, David, I think we are human beings. As human beings, we have to love each other, support each other. That's the main condition for all of us to survive, to live with reasonable happiness and progress. And Cambodian people have suffered so much in the past in its history, and we know how a war can provoke us suffering, loss of life, loss of infrastructures, economy, but also psychological lost suffering. Yeah. So our people who have been, who survived from the war, they continue to suffer. Yeah, mentally speaking, they lost their family members, they lost their parents. I lost my parents at 8 years old. I escaped to France to study. I stayed in a temple, Red Cross. So this remain in our. I mean, everyone has his or her own life journey. Yeah, life journey. So David, I think we have to be optimistic. We have to try our best to do whatever possible to your neighbors, to your colleagues, to your communities, to the nature, everything. I think we need to really be a useful actor or member of our society, of our global societies, as I may say, possible.
Yeah, it's great. I love that you're so hopeful that it's, but it sounds to me like it's really rooted in your personal story as well, which I think, as you mentioned, we all have our own story to tell. And I really think that I think that change in the future, we're going to see more change in the future. The more we hear from people like yourself telling their own story authentically, transparently, and saying, this is a problem we can solve. We can come together. It's why we're meeting here today,
right?
Why 1,000 people are fighting for a mine-free world. Thuch, thank you so much for your time. I've taken more of your time today than I said I was going to, but I've enjoyed our conversation. I hope we get to do it again, maybe even at a restaurant in Phnom Penh.
Yeah, with pleasure, David. Thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to to talk to you, and I had to thank you for your wonderful work. Focusing on silent killers and more. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
happy to be
Thank
here
you.
and to
That's
talk
great.
to you.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you today.
Thank you.